Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the technology that brings us together. We know that we're together in the brotherhood and that through Jesus we're united. We thank you for the health of those that have just experienced the hurricane and all the disasters that went on with it. Hurricanes aren't unique, but this one seems a little bit worse than the others. I know in the Navy, when a hurricane was coming up the coast, most of the ships were able to went out and weathered it in the Atlantic. And that's a fun ride if anybody wants to experience it. We thank you for our membership here, for the love and the fellowship that goes on among us. And we thank you for Jesus, for the many examples that he set for us so that we can be together someday in heaven with him. We thank you for family. We thank you for those that bring us the lessons. We pray this in Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so Charlie, introduce our speaker, if you would.
Okay, our speaker tonight is Stephen Sutton. He preaches for the West Dyersburg Church of Christ down on the Mississippi River. And he was here at Springville for 2 years, Stephen, 3?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and I learned to love him and his little wife, Whitney, and they've got a set of twins. Have you dropped any more since I heard from you?
No, somebody asked me what's keeping me from having any more children. I said the first two.
Okay, now I'm going to just give the floor over to him and let him do his thing. Stephen Sutton, a fine fella, I'm telling you.
Thank you. Charlie and his family, they're special people. And Springville is a great church. And the reason why the church culture at Springville is so great is because of the Kate family and their work with that church and the work that God's done through them. And it's a special church. It's a special place. And lots of some of God's favorite people have to be members there. And so you want to talk about a church that cares. I've never seen a church that cares more for each other than Springville. And that's because of Charlie and his family. So I love you, Charlie. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you all tonight. And you all are some of my favorite people, and I hope that you do not feel abandoned or neglected in the Lord's church. I hope that God continues to use you in mighty ways. What you're doing tonight is ministry. Okay, it's ministry. And so God is using you to bless the lives of other people and to pray for each other and to get up under people carrying heavy loads in the sunset years of their life. And you're getting underneath that load with them and helping them carry that. And I believe Paul had something to say about those burdens that we help carry. And so it's encouraging to see you all tonight. I want to take you back in your mind. It's going to probably be a pre-marriage. So for those of you that are married, go back to the dating years. And do you remember going to the fair with your girlfriend? And you're trying to be, cool guy, and y'all have eaten some funnel cakes and a hot dog, or maybe some ice cream or cotton candy or what all they have there. And my granddad used to call them a big gully washer. You had you a big Coke or big lemonade or whatever they served back then, tea or something. And y'all walking around just in love. And she you know what the zipper is? The thing that goes up and down and the cages spin and it's going along and it's spinning and the cages are spinning. And she looks at you and she says, honey, why don't we go ride that together? And you're thinking, I don't need to, that's not a good idea. You know, you're trying to impress this young girl. You're thinking, yeah, well, she talks you into getting into that thing, you know, and you think, man, I can't say no. You know, I want to date this girl, and I just ate them hot dogs and funnel cakes. I really don't need to ride that thing. And so you pay however much it costs. You get on and you're riding. It seems like it's 30 minutes, but it's a minute, man. You probably 30 seconds today. It's whirling around. You didn't know if you were right side up, upside down. Probably wished you was inside out or right side up. And but when you get off of it, that's my favorite part. Is I would not ride anything like that, but I would certainly watch some people get off of it. When they get off of it, they're all wandering around, going the wrong direction, and it's hard for them to determine which way to walk. And and I think that is kind of the world in which a lot of people live. The world's got them in that zipper and spinning around, and it's hard for them to determine which way they need to go. There's so much noise that's loud, but the truth is louder, and people are struggling with knowing what to believe. Our world in some ways, in a lot of ways, is upside down, morally, ethically, biblically. And, one of my friends said, everybody's a Christian till it gets biblical. And so, there's a lot of confusion, and we've lost hold on the book. We've lost hold on the book. And so what I want to talk to you tonight about is how to live right side up in a world that is upside down. And maybe these are some thoughts that they might be good for you. They might be something you could send to your children or your grandchildren. It's some things for us to think about. And we find ourselves in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 10, where we kind of get the secret to that right side up living. Trust in the Lord. That's it. That's point number one. Trust in the Lord before anything else. What does it mean to trust? Now, when I was younger, a younger preacher, if you were to ask me what was the test, I probably would have told you that if I could work 100 hours a week, and that if I could push all the buttons, and if I knew all the answers, and if I could figure it all out, then if I could just get it all going, and just then that would be just that'd be the test of faithfulness. But if you ask me today, what's the test, Stephen? The test is not to figure it all out. The test is to trust Him. Amen. And I don't want to fail that test. I know that you trust Him. You wouldn't be where you are without your faith and trust in God. And that kind of trust, that childlike trust. My son, I might be in the swimming pool or he might be at the playground. He just jumps, and because I've always caught him. He's never hit the ground. He's never gone under the water. He just jumps in Daddy's arms because he knows I'm going to catch him. I'm sitting in a chair much like most of you. Did any of you inspect that chair before you sat down in it tonight for this? Did anybody get up under it? And no, did you trust it that you were going to be able to sit down and it was just going to do what it's always done and it's going to be fine? And so that kind of trust, to have confidence in, to have faith. You might have heard about the guy that got a wheelbarrow. He's at the circus. He wanted to push that wheelbarrow across the tightrope, and they get the crowd all worked up. He maybe going to walk across it, but then he gets that wheelbarrow. Y'all think I can do this? Like, yeah. Like, you really think I can do this? Yeah. And there he goes. He points over there over at Charlie, and he says, hey, You believe I can do it? And Charlie says, yeah. He said, well, get up here and get in this wheelbarrow. Well, it's a different story. You know, when you're on the sidelines, when you don't have any skin in the game, you know, if he falls off the wire with a wheelbarrow, who cares? But if I'm in the wheelbarrow and he's pushing that thing up there 50 feet in the air, then, you know, we got a little problem, then it's my problem then. And so, you know, believing that he can do it isn't really faith. Getting in the wheelbarrow is putting your money where your mouth is. And folks, they want to trust in everything else. They want to trust in everyone else. And when that fails, when they run out of other options, then they want to give God a try. And so our first way that we need to be living right side up in an upside down world is to trust God before, to trust him first, to trust God before anything else. The second thing that comes to my mind when we talk about living right side up is in verse number 6 that says, in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. To commit to the Lord in every area of your life. We're going to live right side up in an upside down world. We've got to commit to the Lord. Sometimes I remind folks from the pulpit at times, when you and I obey the gospel, however many years ago, we made a promise that we'd be faithful to God until we got to be home with him. And so you think about marriage vows, we made a promise to God. And so we're facing that commitment. We are not fickle, wishy-washy, on again, off again, half-time, part-time, quarter-time followers of Jesus, but rather we need to commit to the Lord in all areas of our lives, our attitude, our speech, our behavior. And in all of our ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. That word all is one of my favorite words in the Bible. And every time I read it, I say the same thing, and I'm going to say it to you too. One day I'm going to do a sermon on the word all. I mean, it would be a wonderful, wonderful study. And when I get time, maybe when I retire, I'll finally get that sermon written. But I love that word all because, you know, the superlatives, you know, good, better, best. Well, there's no aller, and all list, right? And so it's just all. In all your ways, you know, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Do you remember that? Do you remember the little GPS? Maybe you might still have one. I doubt it. But you remember the little GPS? They first came out. I thought it was just the neatest thing. This little screen, you just stuck it up in your windshield, plugged it in your cigarette lighter, and it knew where you were in the world. And you could program an address into it, and it would take you right to it, you know. And that little, you know, woman's voice comes on. In 0.4 miles, turn left. You remember that? Yeah, exactly. And she tells you where to go. And so, you know, when I was, when those things came out, I was just recently married. So I had a GPS on my windshield, and then I had another one in the passenger seat. It was telling me where I needed to go and how I needed to get there, right? And so, you know, go straight 15 miles, then turn left. You got 2 miles, turn right. Well, you miss a turn, what does it do? It says recalculating, doesn't it? Redirecting. If you'll follow what they tell you, it'll get you right back on track. Rerouting, redirecting, recalculating. And I wish that I could tell you that once you obey the gospel, once you follow Jesus, that just life gets incredibly easier for you, that your mortgage is paid, that you're not going to make any more mistakes. But that's not true. You will. We're going to make mistakes. And when you do, there's going to be reminders. There's going to be people you see. There's going to be the Bible laying there. There's going to be the Bible app on your phone. There's going to be church folks. There's going to be the preacher to text you. All these reminders, just recalculating, do a U-turn. And, you know, we call that repentance in the Bible, right? And so commit to the Lord in every area. Say, well, boys, we took a hit last week. Oh man, did you see what was on the news? You know, I preached a sermon this past Sunday about God's remedy or God's prescription for political anxiety. And
Ooh.
I've never preached a sermon or even had a thought about anything like that before, but there's a lot of political anxiety. And if we're not careful, we can kind of get a little down about it. Can't we say, oh, boy, I'm telling you, Charlie, ooh, we took a hit. I mean, did you see what they were saying about the Christians and what they're trying to do this? And last week, did you see what they were doing? And the week before that, did y'all see the news? Oh, did you see the weather? Oh man, Charlie, Mr. Allen, did you see the stock market? Well, I'm telling you what, and if we're not careful, we can have our heads down. God's people can have their heads down in defeat, like the battle is over and we lost the war.
Amen.
And so either God's on his throne or he isn't. Either he has the whole world in his hands or he doesn't.
Amen.
And, I don't know why I'm always surprised by what the world does. I don't know why I'm disappointed when God's not in the equation, but I shouldn't be. That's how things go. Go listen, to the news. It's the world reporting on itself. And, they can't even, mention the word God on their shows. God isn't in the equation, but he hasn't been for a long time. And you and I, we can't control it, but God's in our equation. And we can control whether or not we're going to be the kind of Christian man and Christian woman that God is calling us to be. And so, the type. Oh, me, boy, we took a hit. Something bad's happened on the news. My faith is shaking. Oh, what are we going to do? What do we need to do? Oh, did y'all hear? I got a call. Which way do we need to go? Well, listen, just keep going straight. Commit to the Lord in every area of your life. That GPS. Take the next right step. Take the next step in the right direction. You might have heard the story about a little boy that he got his hand stuck in his mother's favorite vase and couldn't get it out. And there was only one thing left to do, and that was to break the vase. And there was a when she broke that vase, she realized that this hand was still balled up, because at the bottom of that vase was a penny. And he reached down there and grabbed that penny, and he held on to it, and he didn't want to. So trying to get that vase off, and then he broke it. And if you and I are going to commit our life to God in every area, then we're going to have to trust God and let go of that penny and enjoy what God has planned for us. And so this is an agreement. I don't know if you've caught on to this before. I believe that and Charlie does too, because you know what? Charlie's the one that said this. You'll remember it, Charlie. I cannot believe I was about to use one of his lines, and I sat there and looked at him. He's the one that said it, that we need to spend a little more time in familiar passages. You remember saying we need to slow down. We just kind of glaze over, kind of gloss over them. We kind of, the Lord's my shepherd, shall not want. No. We need to slow down a little bit. And these are familiar passages, and we got to just slow down and take it in, because this verse is an agreement. You acknowledge him in all of your ways, and what's the promise? What favor will he show? What's the reward? What's God going to do? What's his part? You commit. What's God going to do? He will direct your path. That's your GPS right there. And that's a pretty good deal. Now, why is it a pretty good deal? It's a pretty good deal because I have proven thousands of times that I do not do a very good job of directing my own paths. And I need help. When I kind of have a saying, it's a little uncomfortable when I go to a restaurant, or maybe I'm with other people. Maybe are out with church members or whatever. And they say, would you like a glass of wine? I say, well, I really have a tough time making good decisions sober. And, I can kind of get a chuckle out of them and kind of ease out of that with humor and everybody, because that's at the beginning of the experience with the waiter. And I don't want to alienate them or offend them in any way, but, I'm not interested in drinking something that looks a little bit like kerosene in that glass, to be honest with you. But, I say that to just say that I've proven so many times that I don't do a good job. I don't make the best decisions on my own. And so I need him. Jeremiah said, "Oh Lord, I know. How did he know? Because he was a human. I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walks to what? Direct his own steps." And so if you'll tie those verses together, if you'll commit, then God will direct. Number 3, don't overestimate your ability. My kids learned that very early. You know, Tillman, come here, me tie your shoe. Me do it, me do it, me do it, me do it, me do it. You know, I can do it. I can do it myself. And that's a book that we you know, read her at her birthday parties. You know, she was blowing out them candles, you know, when she was younger. And you know, Tillman said, "I can do it myself. I can blow out my own candles." You know, Ada were their twins. So Ada would try to help him blow out his, and then he'd try to help her blow out hers. And you know how that is if you got twins. Everybody needs a couple sets of twins. They're character building. Let me tell you, they are character building. Everybody needs a set. But I can do it. I don't need your help. But the problem is, it's okay for a 2-year-old to say that. But the problem is, when we grow up as adults and we still overestimate our ability. Verse 5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and do not lean on your own understanding." Where I live, I preach, and I'm also a paramedic. But I am also the chief death investigator for the medical examiner's office in 2 jurisdictions in this area. In fact, I've been up today since 3:00 this morning because we had a crime that happened last night that I had to go deal with. And so there's a lot of things that happen that I do not understand. I do not understand. I do not have the master plan. But I know the one who does, and I don't need to lean on my own understanding. Verse 7, if you'll look there, says, "Don't be wise in your own eyes." Don't overestimate our ability. The Lord is still in control. He's on the throne. Don't be wise in your own eyes. But if you want to do something, here's what you can do. You can fear the Lord and depart from evil. That's what we can do. Number 4, I don't know how much time we got, but I'm not going to keep you all night. Number 4, honor the Lord above all else. If you look at verse number 9 there in the text, it says, "Honor the Lord with your substance and with the first fruits of all your increase." Honor the Lord. Folks who are living, you know, right side up, they honor the Lord with their material blessings, the first fruits. That's right side up living. Got a nice house, that's great. If you're able to have somebody over, that's even better. Got a nice car, that's great. If you're able to drive someone to church, you know, that's even better. If you can take someone to the doctor, that's better than having a nice car, right? And so we're talking about honoring the Lord. You know, the world, are they busy honoring the Lord? The world's busy doing what? Dishonoring the Lord. And this isn't in my things to talk about, but one of the things that just is appalling to me is the vocabulary of some of the young people that are out in the world. I get so tired of sitting in a restaurant with my family and hearing the Lord's name taken in vain and these folks dishonoring him. It is, some days it's more than what I can handle, to be honest with you. But even if the whole world is living rotten, stinky lives, you know, that doesn't mean that I have to. If everyone else around you is wasting their time and throwing their souls in the sewage by dishonoring God, we don't have to join them. We don't have to join them. We can honor the Lord with our attitude, with our speech, and with our behavior. And we can be the salt and light that he's asked us to be in this world. And then finally, number 5, this is my favorite one. If we're going to live right side up in an upside down world, we got to enjoy this right side up living. Christianity is not this, it's not, you know, I don't know. Some people, they, you know, well, you know, it's a list of things that you can't do, or it's a lot of rules or whatever. You know, that Christianity is the best life there is to live. Christianity is the only life, as far as I'm concerned, that there is. Just the only life worth living, as far as I can tell. And so God wants us to enjoy it. And that's what y'all been doing that tonight. Listen, there's been laughter. There's been, encouraging conversations and lifting each other up. And, people have been depressed. They got hurricanes. They got health issues, and we're pushing them up, and we're enjoying this right side up living. And so verse number 10 says, your barns will be plenty, filled with plenty, and the presses will burst out with new wine. Well, what a blessing. What a blessing. You remember the little boy that asked his mom, said, Mom, they were driving down the road and he saw a mule out there in the field. He said, Mom, is that donkey a Christian? She said, No. Why you ask? He said, well, he's got such a long face. I just can't do this Christian stuff. I just can't do it. I just can't do this. Can't do, I got to go to church with all them hypocrites. And, I've heard just about every excuse. I'm sure you have too, if you've been in the Lord's church for a while, about every excuse in the world from why people that are able, not people that are disabled or sick. I get that. But why people choose, not to be in Bible class or not to be at worship. And, COVID made us much more comfortable with some of those excuses. There was a time when we had to be apart from each other. There was a time to come back together. And the experts say that 30-40% are not coming back. Well, I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not just going to sit back and say, well, 40% are gone. We'll just truck on what we got. Oh, no. We're going to go get them. We're going to go get them and love them and listen to them. That's how we address pain, is with our ears. We're going to listen to them, listen to what they've been through, listen to their stories and love on them, build relationships with them. We're going to try to restore them gently and get up under that load with them so that they too can enjoy the right side. God wants you to live. God wants you to enjoy this life that you're living. I hope that you have had a wonderful life. I don't know you. I hope that God has blessed you with a loving and caring family and great church families and ministers and elders and deacons who love you and have served you and helped you and encouraged you. Because God wants us to enjoy this life that He's called us to live. And so Paul's preaching. The Jews are furious. It's Acts 17. They destroy the house of Jason. You might remember the story. It says, and when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, these that have turned the world upside down are come hither also. So they accused of turning the world upside down. This was my thought, and a parting thought, and I'm going to be done. But maybe the world was already upside down. Maybe the world was already upside down, and the Christians came to turn it right side up. And those mad Jews, they just thought it was upside down. And so you remember watching your favorite, maybe you like soccer, football, baseball, Raiders fans, that game, it's a real nail biter. Or anybody here scream at the TV? Do we have any of those? Yeah, we're going next lesson is going to be on lying. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. So, but they're like, oh, how, your wife says, honey, what are you so anxious about? Oh, I hope my team wins. What's gonna, and you're pacing back and forth and and reacting to every play. Why did the coach do that? Let's say you recorded that game and you say, you know what, tomorrow I'm gonna go watch that game. Let me ask you a question. How nervous you gonna be when you watch it for the second time? You know the outcome. You already seen it once. You know how it's gonna end. And so you're not gonna be nervous. You'll be sitting in your recliner. You're gonna be able to enjoy it a little bit better. Well, listen, I want to tell you something. This game of life has been recorded. And I know how it's going to end. And God is not sick. He's not on vacation, not affected by the hurricane. He's not displaced. He hasn't taken a day off. He's got everything under control. And so you sit in that chair, sit in that wheelbarrow, because we already know how it's all going to end. And this is how. we win. We win. Living right side up in an upside down world. God bless you. Love you all. A pleasure to meet you. Looking forward to heaven with you. Listen, we're gonna have a lot of time. Okay, I don't know that we're playing Uno and Rook and some of my favorite things, but it's gonna be much, much, much better, and I cannot wait to enjoy it with you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton.
Thank you.
Yes.
Stephen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Want to see you. Yeah.
Say again, Brenda. I'm sorry.
It was Donna. I want to see you. Yeah. In
Oh,
heaven.
yeah. I want to be there. Hey, listen, if God can save me, he can save anybody. I tell people, the only
Amen.
way it works is God is a better forgiver than I am a sinner. That's the only way it works. And you don't forget that, okay? Don't forget about that. It's going to be awesome.
Amen.
I want to sit by Charlie Kate and his family.
I
Oh, Joe,
want you to see
I
that,
want
brother.
to lead a song or three. Oh, man.
I'll be
Good.
on the other side of them.
That's right.
Amen.
Brother, it was a thoroughly enjoyable lesson. And I see that you are very well grounded and very stable in an unstable world. And you're out there in the field and looking death in the eye and that kind of thing, and all the hopelessness and all the vileness. And yet there's this radiant joy that comes from you that is highly contagious. And I really get the sense that that's where God really makes himself shine, is in a world like that. And that is holy defiance. It's a wonderful thing, Stephen. You have been blessed and with the gift of being able to encourage other people. And so much of what in life is, we want the answers, but rather than the assurance that we need without the answers. Otherwise, it isn't, as you're saying, it isn't faith. If we have the answer to, so I was thinking about Charlie getting in that in that wheelbarrow and putting our entire life in that wheelbarrow. And I just think, I was thinking of Alan, when that kid had that hand in the vase and it was a penny. I was thinking Alan was probably thankful it wasn't a silver dollar. You know, that's the truth, Stephen. We're all over the map and we need to constantly be redirected. Our steps need to be constantly, we're just all over the place. And so it isn't about getting on the right path and staying on it. It's being redirected to the path, and we'll stand for 5 minutes and then we'll get it right back off the path and we're back on it. We just don't realize what a mess we are. And that's really important, going back to what you said about, remember the early days when you came to Christ and what you were and what the people in the world are, and that how God loves them, is committed to them, and wants them on the same GPS as all the rest of us. And that's what we're here for. So thank you so much. That's a tremendously powerful lesson. And you did it with no notice.
Well, no, I had planned to be here, but I didn't know that my week was next week. So
You did all right. You were originally this week.
did we have a scheduling? Did we have to change it? And I forgot to put it in my calendar. Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's okay.
See what GPS will do, Stephen?
I gotta get, I know all about it. I know all about it.
Stephen, would you come back and be with us again?
Yeah, let me get my schedule. If I can, it works a little bit better about my kids, because I've got young kids.
I'll send you some dates.
Yeah, but it won't be often because they need me. They go to bed in about 15 minutes. So
Do you
Do
still
you
fly?
have any photos of those twins? Do you have a photo you can share?
I probably got one somewhere. I might be able to.
And how old are they, Stephen? Did
Hey.
you say 8?
Yeah. Yeah, they're 6. So
Oh.
Charlie just asked a great question. He said, "Stephen, do you still fly?" Well, let me remind you, Charlie, of our friend Phil Sweeney at Springville. One of the first times I was there, he said he retired from NASA. Great man. And he said, well, they told me you were a flight paramedic. I said, yeah. He said, I thought you had to be skinny to do that. And I said, well, Phil, on the worst day of your life, do you want the dumb blonde that weighs 110 or do you want the fat guy that will dial you in? He said, I'll take the fat guy. I said, exactly.
Oh, what a sense of humor. That's great. Gosh, Charlie.
Phil has gone on to be with the Lord, but what Stephen didn't say was when he worked with NASA, we don't really know what all he did, but his name is on a plaque that they took to the moon. Phil Sweeney.
Wow.
Yeah, you were talking, you had mentioned that to us before, right?
Yeah.
About NASA when, yeah.
Phil is just an incredible,
Incredible.
wonderful person. Well, let's see here. How about this? Let's see. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Maybe not. Let's see right there. Can you see that?
Oh,
Oh,
my
Aw.
goodness.
cute.
Wow.
See what
I see why.
Let me get that. I can take that background
This
off.
shows a picture of his
So
children.
And
tell me
those, do you
again
have
why
other
that,
children?
those two don't make you want to have more children?
There you go.
Oh,
They
they're
are.
so beautiful.
They got
So
the good
happy.
Why?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty special. So anyway, there's
That's a special family.
my wife Whitney there.
Ah.
She's about 20 years younger than me.
Yeah.
He looks like a kid, yeah.
You can tell I've been real good to her, but look what she's done to me, you know.
That's because you're afraid not to tell her that you don't want to eat that.
That's right. That's right. You know, when I first got married, people would say, well, how's married life? And I wanted to say, well, if we were having trouble, you probably aren't the person that I would talk to about it. But, you know, so I thought I got to come up with something different, something funny. I try to get out of an awkward situation with humor. So they said, how's married life? I said, well, it's a difficult time right now. I said, she put me on a budget, on a diet. So I put her on a budget. So I said, she put me on a diet. So I put her on a budget. There we go. So it's a difficult time.
Well, if you don't eat, she'll save money, right?
Exactly.
Oh man. Yeah, well, usually, Stephen, we rely on Alan for the one-liners.
You know, we don't.
He's got sinus infection, so he's not doing
my house.
So I was going to read my senior bouquet poem.
Okay.
Go ahead. If we have time, go ahead, Stephen. You got to hear it.
Okay.
I wrote this a long time ago. It's called A Senior Bouquet. As we get older, loving and squeezing seems to have turned to coughing and wheezing. So if you're old and still feel romantic, hold on to your walker. No reason to panic. If your SS check wasn't deposited today and dreams of a bouquet are sadly fleeting away, a senior solution is still right at hand. Just phone for a ride on your senior van. Tell him a flower shop is your destination and tell him to hurry because you're old and impatient. Stop at the shop's dumpster and ask whoever's driving if they mind watching your walker because you're going to do some diving. Now, some may be droopy, reason they got tossed away, but you can't be real choosy collecting flowers today. Thank the senior van driver for making the stop and gently handle those beauties so the petals don't drop. Next stop is a thrift store, quickly searching the place for a 10-cent purchase of a luxurious vase. Now to ride back to your home, vase and flowers in hand. Now to slip in the front door as quiet as you can. Now into the kitchen with a smile on your face, gently arrange your flowers, water and polish that vase. Turn at her footsteps and lovingly say, "These are for you, darling. It's a senior bouquet."
Ah.
Well, Alan, we've all heard that, we get to an age where we don't buy green bananas. And I was over at the grocery store today, and all the new bananas were green. I mean, green, green. And the man that was arranging them, I almost said to him, "Would you look around at the people in this store? Nobody's going to buy his bananas today." I mean, they were all green. So, and we're all old. So we have to be careful about how we purchase our groceries.
Yeah.
And Stephen, we may not live long enough for them to ripen.
Yeah. Your senior bouquet reminded me of a song they sometimes sing. The Gaithers or some of them sang "Side by Side." Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah, I have at one
Yeah.
time.
Oh yeah, it's pretty special. I like to listen to it from time to time. I've
Well-
sung it at our I guess a group of us were just goofing off at one of our senior events, Valentine's Day or something. But anyway, we sang it and they got a big kick out of that.
Well,
Are
it's
you a
truly the
singer?
happy.
Do you sing in a group, or are you?
He's one of the
Stephen?
best song leaders you ever heard in your
Oh,
life.
really?
Oh,
My
wow.
goodness.
Oh, lead us in a
Can you read
song.
music, Stephen?
Conference,
Can you
he's
read?
led
Can you
for
read it?
College Pulpit. He's led
Oh.
for a bunch of different big peoples. He's
My
one of the
goodness.
best you ever heard.
I don't know about
Wow.
I don't know about that, but
I do.
I enjoy leading singing.
Are you a baritone or what? What do you?
I don't know. I could sing high tenor. I could sing bass. Yeah, I got pretty good
Oh,
range.
Whoa.
But yeah, I love
can you
Lord.
read music, Stephen? Do you
Yeah.
read?
I
Do you read?
can read. I used to read better when I practiced more. In high school, college, but I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then I'll have to sight read a new song or something, and I'll have to figure it out. But I mean, used to it was about like reading a book. It was pretty easy, but it's not like that anymore. I think I'm getting older, as part of that,
Mm.
that age thing, but just losing the practice. But anyway, it's a ton of fun. Ton of fun.
Well,
We
God,
have Mariana has a friend, Lynn Camp, whose son is with the Lubbock. What is that, Marianne? The Lubbock.
Head of the music department at Lubbock Christian University, but he has a choir that he takes all over the world, a chorus. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
wow.
That's
And
awesome.
good things out of Lubbock there. Lawrence signed off. He's not here, but yeah, they Mariana, weren't they just in Coleraine this summer? Yes.
I believe it was this year. They've been there
Yeah.
twice in the last 10 years that I've been there. And they were there before I started going back so regularly. But they go to different countries and different areas. And of course, they have to raise money to do that. So they don't always get to go every year. I mean, I think he tries to take them every other year someplace. So Coleraine is one of his favorite places. But it's because one of the reasons is that the church people provide places for them to live. Not only church, we run out of beds, and so a lot of the other churches, we have people staying in Catholic homes and Mormon homes and all over so they stay all over, and we also feed them, so they can come there without so many expenses, except just to get there. And they've really blessed the church there, and people in the communities know when they're coming and really do support them and look forward to it. So they're great ambassadors for the church.
Wow.
It's
Incredible.
one of the areas, Stephen, where the churches don't have any borders, and it's always a benefit, even across religious, some of the denominations, and reaching out and focusing on larger truth, which of course music is always a fantastic way of doing that, because it's always focused on the bigger picture, and it gets everybody together and gets everybody to participate.
Bird always arranges for the chorus to perform at the St. Patrick's Church in Coleraine, which is Protestant. He takes them over to another place, which, well, St. Malach's is a Catholic. And so they perform at both of these places because of his involvement with all groups. And so that's really a blessing that the people are amazed at what they hear from the young people. And it's really been good. So thank you for asking. I gave a lot more than you asked about, but there you are. That's me.
No, that's great.
We got our money's worth, didn't we?
And you know how Ireland has been so divided with that, Stephen. And yet there's Bert. Yeah. So, anybody else have any closing comments or things, requests, anything?
I
Well, I
got
wanted to say
outline
thank
out
you,
of that,
Steve.
Stephen.
What's that, Charlie?
I got a sermon outline out of that. I outlined it.
Except in yours, he's in the wheelbarrow, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna take him in the wheelbarrow. I don't think he'd go with me pushing the wheelbarrow.
I don't
All
always
right,
think
Charlie,
that's number
so
one.
you have, what's the batter lineup then?
Well, I
For-
texted Shannon Seaton see if he could do it next week. Because I put Stephen in that slot.
Okay,
And, so I have not heard back from him yet, but if everything goes right, Shannon will be back with us next week. If not, well, we'll find somebody. I'll get somebody to stick in there.
in the wheelbarrow or in
Thank-
the speaker's
Good
chair?
to see you.
In both, huh?
Charlie, I thank you for doing this
Oh,
that week after week. That is not an
Thank you,
easy thing,
Charlie.
and I appreciate your effort. Not only your efforts,
Yes.
but doing it. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank
Boom,
you.
clap.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Yes.
We are gonna be traveling next week, so we're probably not gonna be here, but thank you, Stephen. It was,
Good.
Very good.
That's your excuse, Donna? That's the best you come up with?
Good night, everybody.
And
Good
please,
night.
please Good night.
pray for
Billy's
youngest, Billy and Sarah and their boys.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we will. Yes, we will. Thank you.
And continue.
Thank you,
to pray for
Stephen. God
Alan's
bless
wife.
you.
Thank you,
Alan's
Stephen,
wife.
very much.
Stephen, you tell your lovely little wife hello for us, hug her neck for us, slobber all over her.
Yes, I will. You can tell I'm not at the house. I had to come to a quiet place. I'm in the bunker. This is the emergency operations center. So kind of see all the maps and stuff. But anyway,
You
God
have a
bless
good
you all.
night.
Have a lovely night.
Thank you. Thank you.